welcome. Holy shit. It's yet another Asar to steer her by. Wow. Here we are. We're doing the thing. Asar to steer her by. We're doing all the podcast that we listen to Voyager. I'm broken again. Wow. This is like 2 intros in a row where I've just lost my mind.
Do you want to try again?
I don't care.
Oh, all right.
Did I keep it in last time?
I think you did. Because I don't stop. I don't do clean breaks. I just keep talking, and then you're stuck with whatever I've said.
That works.
All right, so we're here. We're doing all the Star Trek watching. This week we're on the Voyager. We're watching 2 Voyager episodes. They are Lifeline and The Haunting of Deck 12. Ooh. Of course, this is your spooky host, Ames.
I don't know what else to say aside from spooky. This is your very milquetoast host, Caitlin.
The Monster Mash. Jake.
He did it. He did the mash. He did the monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash, my dude.
Okay, totally pretend I'm doing a sick Vincent Price impression.
Good.
This is Chris.
And I'm Spooky James.
Spooky again. Happy cat.
I am also
James.
spooky.
We're all spooky here today. You know what's less spooky is Lifeline. Lifeline's an episode. We're going to talk about it right now. Dr. Zimmerman, we know that guy. We saw him in that DS9 episode with the Bashirs. He was a creep. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Dr. Z, wow. And he's here. He's dying like, whoa, of acute subcellular degradation. Who knew? Probably Bashir. He would have helped. But no, you had to fuck his life. So Barclay's here, though, and he decides, hey, I'm going to send an email to the Voyager to let EMH know for some reason. Is he doing this for all of Dr. Z's creations, or what? Barclay, who are you doing this for?
No, probably just the EMH, because he considers him a friend because of
He's
all the time.
never met him.
I know that, but he spent a lot of time with him in the holodeck, remember?
Fuck you, Barclay, you weird prick.
Well, listen, he's Barclay.
All right, continuing with the intro. EMH, however, he's having a slow day, so he decides, hey, I'll cure the disease in my spare time. It's kind of like the phage, some Vididian thing, like the Vidians we mentioned last week. Continuity. Let's shoot the EMH over the Pathfinder transmission thinger, like they've set up, and let him go help his creator. This can only be a good idea. Or it's not very a good idea, because Dr. Z is a stubborn old dingbat, and he says, I won't let an obsolete Mark I treat me, no matter how many light years you've journeyed. I'd rather die than face this embarrassment all over again. You know all the other Mark Is are scrubbing in poop mines or something now, right? And EMH says, oh, that's kind of sad. Am I the only EMH Mark I still doing medicine? And he's like, yes, and fuck you.
You're the only one who's not just tossing urinal cakes.
So Troy comes over, so Marina can have a cameo and pretend she's a counselor or something. But even she gives up on getting these 2 to cooperate.
And yells at them.
She's a great counselor, guys. And suddenly, oh no, the EMH starts glitching out. Only Dr. Z can save him. But Dr. Z says, no, fuck it. Let's just pull whatever the opposite of a Dr. Sung is and let everything with my face die. My face is done in this world. No more of this face. And his hollow assistant, Haley, who's a little hologram program, is like, is that what you feel about all holograms? You know, I'm right here. And sends him on this guilt trip, and it's like, oh no, I've been a giant hypocrite. So he goes and fixes the EMH, and it was super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Because it turns out he was only glitching because Barclay set him up like that to coax Dr. Z into spending some time with him. You know, he couldn't turn down some kind of puzzle to solve, so he did it. And now he and EMH are BFFs forever because now he's cured. Iguanas all around. The end. Jerks.
They're all jerks.
You're both jerks.
Kirk is a jerk.
Kirk is a jerk.
That iguana had amazing comedic timing, and I loved him.
I don't know how they trained it to say words like that, though. That was pretty
It's pretty
cool.
impressive.
Yeah, it was wild.
The actor iguana?
Yeah.
Excellent iguana acting.
Yeah, so let's just to get this out of the way.
Okay.
Zimmerman has definitely fucked that fly, right?
No. Definitely not. There is an unfortunate non-zero chance, yes, but not certain.
What was the fly's name?
Roy.
Roy?
There's
All right, Roy, you're going in.
No.
that's how it works.
Why not?
No.
But in like his urine.
No.
Well, I didn't say butthole, but whatever floats your boat.
I do
I mean, none of this. Just to be clear, none of this floats my boat.
I do like the idea, though, all joking aside, that he may have accidentally nearly eaten him more than once. Just, flying. Right, pick! God damn it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, if you eat a holographic fly, you just turn it off and turn it back on again in a different spot.
Yeah.
I mean, they can make themselves non-corporeal. They could just fly. Yeah, they do that all the time.
Kitty
That's
Pryde
true.
action.
Yeah, like holograms have like reached into people's chests and grabbed their heart and stuff.
Kalima.
The evil
Gross.
image.
Now, here's
Yeah,
the
you're
question,
right.
though. Are the non-humanoid hologram critters, do they have the same mental capacity as, like, the doctor or his assistant? Or
I'm assuming no, because they seem to be explicitly designed to be a representation or like a kind of weird version of
Well, Roy...
what he's trying to do.
Roy's technically a literal bug.
Yeah, like a
he's supposed to be
surveillance.
spy.
So he
Which
might be a
doesn't make-
little cleverer than a
Yeah.
normal fly, but he's probably not, fully.
'Cause, like,
Starfleet intelligence really proving that it's an oxymoron, where they
Mhm.
asked a guy to, hey, can you make a holographic fly for surveillance purposes? First, we'll send in a guy to put in holographic emitters
Yes.
into the Tal Shiar base, and then we'll have a fly in there. It's like,
Yes, an
you've
Earth fly.
already sent someone in to
Well,
set
no,
up holographic
I'm imagining
emitters.
it's something they would do it in something where they can control. Like the Romulan delegation is going to be staying at a hotel. We're going to rig the hotel.
But if you can already put a holographic emitter, you don't need a fly to do the spying.
Yeah, you can just
You've
have a
already
fucking
got
recording
You've
device.
already got physical access to the location.
yeah, but can your cameras hidden in the lamp and microphones fly inside the anuses of the Romulans?
This is true.
I just picture there's someone at Starfleet Intelligence who unfortunately has a lot of say. And one of his agents comes in with the exact thing, like, sir, we just have a recorder. A recorder doesn't have pizzazz or flair!
I mean, this is definitely a Section 31 plot. Like, this is some harebrained shit.
Do you think what's his name would have come up with this one? I feel like it's lower.
Sloan?
Sloan, yeah. I feel like Sloan would have done something a little more nefarious and
This
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, maybe
less
if,
odd.
if Julian hadn't murdered him.
there's an idea
Julian.
dying Sloan had
Right.
as his brain was shutting down.
What if it's a fly with the face of Hitler?
What is that
Then it
from?
must have been a lot of fun to smack him down like the EMH does.
That's the thing, even the fly, you look really close, actually looks like Zimmerman.
Yes.
Oh my god! But like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Important question: when he landed on things, did Roy leave little holographic barfs?
It could have. I mean, no reason it couldn't, because the
I think there's
holographic emitter's set up for the whole room.
Well, I think there's a great reason why he couldn't, because he's a surveillance fly, and someone else would be able to go in and find those barfs.
It's a simulate. Well, yeah, but that's how you know it was a real fly.
That's
not a fake
true.
one,
If
is
they
that
didn't
it's like,
leave behind
it's
barfs,
leaving-
it would be
it's leaving
more.
fly-
There's no
fly
barf here. There
barfs
must have been a
everywhere.
fake fly.
Right.
Damn it, you're
That's
right.
what I think every
Someone's
time I
bugged
see a
our
fly and
office.
there's no fly barfs. I get suspicious.
So that does segue to a question I had.
Does it?
Is
Yikes.
literally anything in his office real?
The art was fake. All the people were fake. I'm assuming some of the furniture is real, but maybe
That's what I mean. Like, I
Zimmerman
kind of
was
wonder.
real.
Computers are
Yeah.
probably legit.
I kind of wonder though, like how much of it was actually how much of that room was just a holodeck.
that actually would have been pretty funny if something fritzed could to kind of show like not necessarily the emptiness of Zimmerman's life, but like how he's
fakeness.
isolated himself so much.
Like I imagine the room they kept sort of his not lab
The
that
living
room,
quarters.
that
what
was
he calls.
real.
Right.
But I kind of wonder I would not be surprised if 95% of that
Right.
lab was hologram.
When he's going through his last will and he's like, I would like to donate my art. He's like interacting with the shelf.
Yeah.
And the stuff on the shelf. So the whole shelf is probably fake. There's no reason for it to be a real shelf at that point.
Man, what's sadder? Being Reg Barkley or having Reg Barkley be your only friend?
Being Reg Barkley.
I do like that they did, I guess that was a callback to the episode where the doctor hallucinates Barkley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So Barclay really did work with Zimmerman.
So
Right.
it's now like officially established that
Well,
Barclay and Zimmerman work together.
I thought that so there's that episode which is a little weird where the Doctor hallucinates Zimmerman as looking like himself, and also Barclay, because it seemed like Barclay wasn't working with Zimmerman until Barclay started doing Pathfinder stuff. Like, but I'm
Where do you get
maybe
that?
maybe I'm just wrong on that.
I don't know about that.
No, it
But
sounds
also,
like-
hasn't he possibly been doing Pathfinder stuff for a long time because it seems like they'd been failing at it for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zimmerman is a non-Pathfinder.
Right. No, I know that. No, so I guess...
I think he's just
okay,
on
yeah,
him
no,
because
so I
he
guess
likes
I'm-
holograms.
Yeah, I guess I'm just confused about when and where...
Barclay's a busy boy.
Yeah, Barclay
Well, I'm
and
assuming that
Zimmerman
like Barclay, it makes sense that he would get involved in holography because he is
a hollow addict.
a hollow addict.
Yeah.
Probably
And he's good at it.
but probably not
Yeah.
the best environment for
No.
someone recovering from.
No,
that
just because you're a really
addiction.
good chemist, once you're addicted to heroin, you probably shouldn't work at the heroin production
Yeah.
facility.
I'm surprised when Troy got
That
the call
depends
from
on
him.
your
It's like,
opinion.
oh, I need help with this hologram situation I'm having. She was like, ah, god damn it.
Well, she did try to foist him off.
Yeah, she
Yes.
did try
She
to
was
do a voice.
she was like, oh, I know, was it like Jinzo or something like that? It's like, oh, I know a Dr. Jinzo on Earth who's really good. And Barclay was like, well, Deanna, I need the best.
Yeah, that's why I said
So
Jinzo.
give me Jinzo's number.
Is Guinan around?
Which of you looks most like the goddess of empathy? Is it Troy? Okay, that's the
Jinzo.
one.
Yeah, we actually did. Last time we were talking about Barclay, we tried to figure out his timeline, and our assumption was he worked with Zimmerman in the period between the Enterprise D blowing up and the Enterprise E being commissioned, because he was on the E at least during the point of first contact.
And there was also an EMH on the E at that time.
Yeah.
So the EMH Mark 1 was already in service, so it had to be before that.
Yeah.
Not yet scrubbing the poop mines.
No.
Not yet in the poop mines.
Oh, did you guys notice that Robert Picardo has a writing credit on this episode?
I did
No,
not.
I didn't.
Yeah, he's the only cast member to have a writing credit since Walter Koenig.
Oh, who wrote
Walter
for TAS?
Yeah,
He wrote Wessels.
no, he wrote Infinite Vulcan.
It's kind of wild how little
Ish.
little the showrunners seem to listen to the actors when it comes to like pitching ideas and stuff.
Except Picardo. Picardo
Except for-
gets a lot in.
I think it's because he just never gave up. Like
He just doesn't
if-
shut up.
Yeah, he just kept going, even though the writers would be like, Berman does not want us taking advice from actors. And then Picardo was like, yeah, but what if? And then just spit out like 15 different ideas
Yeah.
at the same time.
I have a great quote from Picardo that I wrote down in its entirety. Let me do my best Picardo. No, I
Oh,
can't.
yes.
I don't have one.
Well, then just do a Sean Connery impression.
no.
That's gotten me
It's
through.
worse. He says, I play not only the Doctor, but his programmer, Dr. Lewis Zimmerman. So I achieved a lifelong ambition of working with an actor who I've admired. Of course.
And that was a pretty good Picardo.
Of course. The hardest thing about acting with myself was coming up to my own level. I was very demanding, but also very generous as an actor. I gave myself everything I felt I deserved, and more.
That's like that Shatner in Futurama
Yeah.
joke, you know?
Yeah. Oh, God, that's great. So,
What a ham.
I love
do you
it.
think one of the... Because we know EMH Mark 1 is Zimmerman. EMH Mark 2 is Andy Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Is either the 3 or 4 Reg Barclay? At least physically.
I fucking
God.
hope
Since
not.
he doesn't
hope
know a
not,
lot of
too.
people. Imagine, I love the idea of the EMH Mark 4 being Barclay, and they don't tell anyone on the Enterprise, so the first time they turn him
Oh,
on,
no.
someone shits a brick.
Which one?
Please, state,
Oh no.
please state
Awkward.
Just physically, not
the medical
personality.
emergency. Emergency.
I mean, I love Deanna Troy. Oh no!
Was he always that fucking stuttery? I feel like his
Yes.
stutter is turned up to 10 in this episode.
He was pretty stuttery, especially when he was first introduced as Reginald,
Yeah.
Broccoli.
As
Yes,
broccoli.
true.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
Which EMH were they kind of trying on Bashir?
He
think
was
he was
supposed
the
to
first
be,
one, right?
You know, he was going to be the Mark II.
Who's
Oh, is that
Maybe
right?
two?
Maybe he's Mark 3 or Mark 4.
Yeah. So, like,
They already
man,
did the
what a
work.
step down, though. They went from Bashir to Andy Dick.
Mm.
When
It's because the Bashir one just kept seducing all
That's
of
what
his
it is.
clients.
Trying.
I don't know. I like that in a good doctor.
I mean, I'm a little.
I'm just kidding. I don't.
I know a doctor that lost his license and closed his practice for that.
I wouldn't
Oh,
be
no.
surprised if the
Personally?
other ones were
Yep.
other species,
Mm.
because
Oh,
it
that
does
makes
seem a
sense.
little weird that all the EMHs,
Yeah.
and indeed all of the doctors, evidently in Star Trek up to this point, are all humans.
That's
Silar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Hero doctors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair.
She's on a CMO.
Well, the captains
Mm.
are humans.
Oh my god. Well, Spock was captain of the Enterprise for the beginning of Star Trek 2.
And Data was a captain in that movie that time. Wasn't he? Wasn't he a captain of a ship for a minute?
He was captain of the I don't know,
The Sutherland?
Sutherland.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was,
yeah.
he was
That
kind
was
of
the
like
one with
honorary
the
captain.
racist first.
Well, whatever. It
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah.
It counts.
Yeah, and
Or
the
racist.
weirdest
Do it!
And the weirdest bridge they've ever had in Star Trek.
A lot of railings. Just tons.
Just like Dr. Bashir's medical practice. Heyo.
So I liked at the beginning when they realized, oh, we can actually start to send messages home, and they were pretty excited.
Only
and
once a month, though.
Only once a month because they're timing it with like a pulsar.
Yes.
That's some fun science.
Yeah, it's neat and weird. It's cool. Janeway's like, all right, everyone write letters, even if it's just a quick note, and like kind of look down at Tuvok.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just being like, send something.
Tuvok, hello,
But that's-
wife, I'm still alive.
Right, yeah.
That's also-
Honestly, I can see Tuvok just being like, I'm safe.
But that's also silly, though, because they're like, we have 17 hours. Make it... It's like, all you have to do is, like, I assume, pop all these attachments on it. I mean, I could write a 4-hour letter if I wanted, and it wouldn't affect you if you have another 13 hours to attach the damn thing.
Right. And also, that like they seem to be like, keep it brief. I think Janeway was like, it's like, make sure the letters aren't too big because we can only send so much data.
But then
Unless
they
we
found
compress
EMH.
the Doctor, which is like teraquads of data or whatever.
Yeah, apparently they can make him a zip file, but nothing else.
Yeah, I was like, you could probably send just about anything you want. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah.
Just tell the doctor your message, and then you have a long
Right,
message to
yeah,
bring
that's
over.
the thing is, like, the Doctor seems to hold a vast amount of information that gets transported over, because it seems to be the entirety of the Doctor, even though they say stuff like, oh, we removed your ability to sing.
Yeah, you
which
can't dance while
That
you're
was a
there.
little rude to just turn that off without asking.
Seven's a little rude.
Yeah.
Seven's just like, fuck it.
This is
You don't need
logical.
it.
Singing is futile.
I have to say, though, just from the point of, I kind of hate that we now have regular contact with Earth.
I thought you were going to say with Reginald Barkley.
Yeah, well, yes, that too.
That's
But
the
no,
one.
just like the concept of it just feels like it kind of short circuits the premise of the show.
I think it has to be progressing in some way. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same. We're still going home. We're still going home.
But that's what the show's about.
Yeah, but I think they know at some point we're going to get home. We can't just suddenly pop home and we're there.
No,
There
I think
hasn't
it's
been a
fine if,
progression.
like, in the episode with Andy Dick, that was an interesting conceit for them to make contact with Earth because there was an ancient alien thing that let them do it. And then you had the Pathfinder episode where they had brief contact, and that made sense. But now that it's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to just be able to chit-chat every month.
No, it's escalating.
I agree with Jake. I think that... And the fact is, I don't think they really use it going forward either.
There's like another,
All the
Doctor episode.
All the episodes we see aren't on that day of the month.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's like, I think it could work, but then this episode wouldn't work in order to make that work thematically.
Yeah.
Because, like, they should still feel alone. And so it's okay if you can, like, send, like, a text, once a month. Like, you can still be alone at that. But you can't send teraquads of data. You'd basically be like, we can send you literally 100 characters. Like, we can give
That's
you...
a tweet.
we
Space
can
Twitter.
give you a tweet...
What
A
emoji
month.
are you going to use?
And you
It's important.
you can send a tweet back, or even you can't send anything back. All we can do is give you something like really tiny, and then that in some ways that gives you the progression of they know you're out there, they know you're alive, they're looking for you. But at the same time, it almost makes the loneliness worse because you have this tiny little lifeline, and it'll give you like the tiniest of crumbs, and
you
it's
said the title.
and it's like functionally useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if whenever we get to season 7, spoilers, stuff happens in season 7 where they're getting home.
What?
I know, right? It's weird.
I haven't gotten there yet. You keep ruining shows for me. Sorry.
And I feel like if we didn't have these kinds of landmark moments, what am I looking for? Benchmark?
Milestones?
Milestones. That's a better word. Thank you, Caitlin.
Certainly.
If we didn't have these milestone moments of we're now this close and we can do this. They state, I think Admiral Hayes says, oh yeah, we're sending some deep space mission to you. You might rendezvous in 5 to 10 years.
That's actually really fast.
Yeah,
but
where
that
did
was
they get that
That was
number?
another thing. Exactly.
I didn't like that.
It was going to take them 70 years.
Well, now we're down to 40
12.
something.
Well, they've done a lot of big jumps, like the slipstream. It only lasted for 3 seconds, but it got them 10 years closer.
They're 12 years away from home.
They are?
Because
12?
Because if
That
they're
was less than
sending
that.
if they're
Or more
sending
than
a
that.
deep space reconnaissance out and it's going to take 5 to 6 years to reach Voyager, that means if they're meeting at a middle point, they're 12 years away from home.
Well, but there's new technology that they may have missed, so the other ship might be moving faster. I
That's true.
agree. If they're
That's
moving at
fair.
the same speed,
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Are they
Yeah.
that? I like
they're if in order for a deep space thing to meet within 5 to 6 years, they're close.
That's what I mean. That's why I was like, wait, where'd you get that number?
Yeah.
Unless it's like,
The edge of the Alpha
or
Quadrant,
like maybe it's a deep space turd. I don't know.
It could be a
Wow.
version of the Hansons where they just screwed off to like as far deep space as
Yeah.
possible and
See, they were already a lot of the way there
and
anyway.
Starfleet's pulling in a favor,
Yeah.
being like, whatever garbage you're doing, stop it and go meet up with the Voyager.
That was the one thing, like, that was a little weird. But I feel like that helps, though, still establish the idea that, like, you have contact, but you're still a ways off.
Right.
So I can see where you're coming from, certainly. Like, it does feel a little different, but they're still trying to preserve this idea that, like, yeah, there's contact, but it's still... I also thought it was kind of interesting, the fact, bringing up that, like, to Starfleet, it's still, oh yeah, you have a bunch of, like, fugitives on board?
Are they
Yeah.
in your
Oh, yeah.
brig?
And
Send us their
Janeway's
brig
like-
signals.
Oh, right. That whole thing. I sort of forgot.
Yeah, that was a strange scene because I thought when she was reacting kind of negatively to this message that it was about 5 to 10 years. It's still a ways off. I thought she was reacting to that news
Oh yeah.
and not the how are those Maquis doing? And then Chakotay walks in and she's like, Chakotay, I'm feeling conflicted about how we've treated the Maquis. And he's like, yeah, me too.
I should have put you all in the brig.
Especially Suda.
Oh yeah. There's going to be some interesting,
Send Suda to my
Oh,
room.
God.
interesting conversations when Admiral Hayes was like talking about casualties.
Oh, God.
I'm like,
Fun
been a
Let me
few.
tell you about Seska. Whoops.
story.
No one
Yeah.
saw that coming.
But in terms of having a connection and that, like, sort of cheapening things, maybe, I kind of feel like now they're open to, like, receive bad news. Like, Harry Kim's mom could have terminal cancer. We don't know.
Well,
Like,
send the doctor back to fix it.
nope, can only
Easy-
do that. Can
easy
only play
peasy.
that card once.
I guess that is kind of they did do that a bit with the Array, though, when that was intact, where it was like, hey, so just, could you let the Maquis know all their friends are dead or in prison?
Yeah, I guess we
Oh,
already did
P.S.
that
The
kind of-
Dominion War is a thing now. God knows if we'll still be here when you get back.
Yeah, at what point is the Dominion War's over at this point?
At this
right?
point,
At
yes.
this point.
Yeah,
But
not
that
the
was, like-
previous
Because
episode.
Deep Space
but yeah.
Nine's over
Yeah,
by
yeah.
now.
Sad.
Hope they told them that in this data dump. It's like, oh, but that war we met, it's fine now.
I mean, the thing is if you can send the doctor
Yeah.
like story writing wise, your space is infinite.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like it can literally be anything you want, and like that's unfortunate.
I wonder at what point they know that it's going to be a 7-season show.
I think at the time they probably just assumed.
Was that the assumption? Because the
Yeah.
other shows were 7
Well,
season shows?
and the actors all signed on for 7.
Aha, interesting.
Like that's I think that's what a lot of shows at the time did, is they were like, all right, 7 seasons, that'll get you into reruns on cable, and because there was some limit for like the syndication. They would only syndicate shows typically of certain lengths, so you'd shoot for a certain length of show, and you'd have all your actors locked in for it.
Here's what irritated me about this episode, and I know it's just a stupid throwaway thing, and it was only done for like a little gag, but Troy walks in on the doctor and Zimmerman arguing, and she says, "Now, which one of you is Dr. Zimmerman?" And my immediate thought is, she should know, because she can tell which one of them's a person and which one isn't.
Well, and she was able
And-
to recognize one of the
Right.
girl hologram.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
the-
and then it's like, oh, this writers just forgot that she can detect.
But also,
Holograms.
like her lack of powers aside, because her powers come and go. One of them is an old man in a bathrobe. The other is a man in an outdated version of the Starfleet uniform. I wonder which one is the EMH Mark 1. from a ship that's been stranded thousands of miles from home.
Maybe she was just being polite.
Yeah, was it her kind of joking and kind
I
of
think
like
it
probably
was.
lightening the mood because they're obviously tense?
And I am happy that Troy finally got to eat an ice cream.
That's true. She wasn't interrupted for once.
The cat didn't come and eat it for her. She didn't get called to the bridge. She just got to sit there and enjoy a bowl of ice cream.
Roy didn't land on it.
It's just a shame that it's like, what's it, like the Flanderization of the characters, where it's just like, Troy has two character traits, and it's that she's eats chocolate and she's a bad therapist.
Sometimes an empath, and most of the time not.
She's just a bad therapist.
How could you tell? Oh, I wasn't sensing emotions from you. Oh, Reg says you never do, despite your many claims.
The beginning of this episode had some really good Janeway Hollow racism, which likes to rear its ugly head.
That is consistent.
What did she say?
What happened?
She basically was like, "You're a tool. Like
You don't have a father."
Yeah, it's like you might think he's your father,
weren't
you're not.
You weren't in our parents' discussion, so it doesn't count.
We can't just send away our like. You couldn't just give away your toaster to go deal with daddy issues. Like, you need to stay here and be the doctor because that's literally what you are.
Well, to be fair, last time she let him go off and do his own thing, he almost didn't come back.
Yeah,
because he was
fired a child.
Yeah.
The second to last time he almost didn't come back. Sorry.
It just feels like it's rehashing the same argument over and over, where it's like, you can't do this. You're like
a toaster.
Yeah, you're a toaster.
And the thing is, you don't even have to have that part. The reasonable part could be, we need you around.
Right,
we
yeah, no.
not have a real
like,
position.
Tom Paris will be fine.
She could have even
He's doing open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck,
could have played
dude?
into his vanity and just be like, you are our doctor. You keep us safe. Mm-hmm. And she's not wrong. Like,
we don't
it's
trust
still
Tom with this.
Yeah, it's like, you as a person are too valuable to risk death because we can't back you up for some reason. To go on a mission where, like, you know, it's like Starfleet has the best doctors, you know,
we
in
lost
Starfleet.
the backup. The backup's on Living Witness
Right,
Planet.
no, I know. You can make another backup! You can make another backup! I've been mad all week about this, because we definitely didn't record this in one day.
There needed to be an epilogue scene where he's like, a month away from Voyager. Let's see how sickbay is. And the doors open. There's like a goat on his desk chewing on something. Fucking Harry's in a cage being dangled from the ceiling like Martin in that one Simpsons. Something's on fire.
Yeah, it's like have you watched Community? And Troy walks into the room after having gotten a pizza and everything is fucking chaos.
That is not one of the few episodes I've seen, but I have seen that meme. So
it's amazing.
Yes.
That's a great episode.
I feel like as a lay person in the Star Trek universe, I feel like I would just suggest for them to use a transporter to fix the cellular degradation.
That's true.
Because I feel like that's probably been done like a dozen times at this point.
You hear this guy a lay person. He's bragging about his sex life again. Chris go.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What happened?
Chris, you were going to say something and I jumped in with that because I had to take it while I could.
Too good.
You saw your opportunity.
Very good.
But, I mean, oh god, yeah, no. The number of times we have brought up, why not just use the magic of the transporter to fix this? I mean,
I know.
You know, it's just... It seems like, in theory, everyone should be immortal at this point, because you can just reset yourself, but...
Yeah, they reset Pulaski.
Yeah, it's true.
From old to...
Slightly less old.
Although, oh my god, how old was Pulaski at this point? We might be hitting that age, for all we know.
I don't know. What?
I don't know how old Pulaski was when she was on...
Oh, no.
Star
She
Trek.
was
in her 50s.
50s.
Yeah, she'd
Justice
been our age in TOS, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a little younger.
What?
In TOS.
Oh, I was like... It's like, damn, she looked terrible. Oh, you meant TOS, not TNG. I always forget about TOS.
In her late 50s in TNG, and she's
she
old
looked
as
fucking
fuck
great.
now.
She looked fucking great
84.
in TNG, so...
There you go.
She's still with us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, God, come on. Justice for Pulaski. She could have been in Picard.
There was
She should just get her own show. It should be like ER.
She has a ship,
but with
though.
Pulaski.
She has a ship.
Yeah, great. Whatever. Bring her back. I
There's
want
a
her.
USS Pulaski. So we don't know if it's named after her though.
It could be. Who else could it be named
Her
after?
dad,
Yeah.
Mr. Pulaski.
Her and
Mr.
Kyle
Pulaski
Riter's
is
Damn it,
my
I was about to
father.
say that.
What were you going to say?
Kyle Riker, and they banged. And
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Right.
it's her daddy, Kyle Riker.
No.
It would be the USS Riker, wouldn't it?
No,
Anyway.
Pulaski was banging.
Yes.
Good.
What the hell were we talking about? We are all over the place.
So
with this
Picard is
episode.
a good actor who differentiates the two characters pretty well.
His voice is a little different as Zimmerman. Even.
Yeah, he does. He definitely gruffs it up.
Yeah, no, I like this episode. I think there was, I've been nitpickily, it's just like, there's a lot of like little goofy things with the two characters.
Oh yeah, they do a lot of
Yeah.
There were so many scenes of them side by side with each other,
Oh,
and I was like,
Yeah.
it's almost you're almost showing off too much what you can do with the tech.
I thought it was great, though. They were doing a good job. They were looking in the right direction.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had a high level, right? And
Because even with the tech, you still got to shoot it right.
The really surprising thing was when Zimmerman snatched a tricorder out of the EMH's hand.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole extra... Like, it was enough that they had him walking behind him a couple times. And a few times you're like, yeah, the blue screening is obvious. Yeah. But the tricorder grab, that's a whole nother level of complicated.
Damn.
Yeah, and this is definitely like, pre all of the cool tricks they can do nowadays. It's like to make sure that like sight levels are right and what they can or can't remove from the filming.
Yes, we just green screen your eyeball so we can put your pupils wherever we want.
Just give you green contacts.
Yes, like Miller. Mitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns out just having a stand-in actor that's the same height as you is probably...
that's mostly what they do.
Probably the best way to do that.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, a little bit, it was definitely a bit on the nose in some ways, very much like, again, like playing up the whole child and parent thing, which was occasionally a little like, okay, this is very tidy and neat and shit, but...
I'd forgotten that the assistant was also a hologram.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, shit!
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I'd kind of assumed initially that, like, she was his daughter, but obviously that gets set aside pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, she kind of is his daughter.
That's true. I was going to say, unless he created her, then yeah.
So when Zimmerman is giving his, like, last will and he's, like, deciding who gets what and stuff, he says he wants her to stay active as long as the facility exists.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bulldoze the facility the
Right.
next day.
When the facility closes down, like, do they just kill...
They don't consider it killing, I'm sure.
They should.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Like,
she's going to the poop mines with the Mach 1s.
a huge, like, we know that hollow matrices and holodecks and everything, they do take up a fair amount of energy to run.
Sometimes when they remember.
Post-scarcity.
So, like, that does like, when you have a being that is essentially immortal and can just be created all willy-nilly, like just the resource demands to keep these people around.
Well, they must be getting better and better with years.
They hope so, because otherwise it's going to be a problem at some point. There's going to be too many. If we can't just shut them down for obvious,
I mean,
just can't murder people reasons.
You can make the same argument for living people. We take up resources.
Yeah, but the thing is, living people do eventually die.
Yeah, but we constantly replace ourselves.
What if there was an accident and 1,000 copies of the Doctor were created?
Oh dear.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have
last
1,000 sentient beings which should be considered to have rights by, measure of a man.
No, that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I know. But let's assume that the writers didn't decide to be huge hacks about artificial life for whatever
Old
reason.
Testament Trek.
You would have
That's a good way to frame
just
that.
1,000 doctors, and you can't shut them off. You could maybe make a case for merging them, but let's just assume they don't want to.
Janeway would be like, "How do I kill all of them?" Well, you don't want to keep at least one. No, all of them.
Yeah,
dead.
please get all.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Like, I don't think if that happened, I think the ship would shut down. Like, I don't think they would have space enough.
I imagine a scenario like over on Earth, where they have functionally infinite power.
No,
it's an accident
You-
that's not a disaster.
You wipe their memories or wipe their medical database and force them to scrub toilets. That's what
Perfect.
Zimmerman said that they did,
Perfect.
basically.
Yeah.
I do. I just have this mental image of Voyager just like with the corridors just full of EMHs, just all shuffling around, being rude to each other.
I mean, that's basically the plot of season 1 of Picard, right?
Fair.
Rios had a bunch of copies.
Oh,
of
the Rios
himself.
hologram. See, I'm thinking of there's a Lower Decks episode.
One of the few fun things in an entire season of television.
So
with the Dupplers. The Dupplers do that.
So the thing I
Yeah.
could see though, like it, on the one hand, it seems weird that like we've had Measure of a Man, but like holograms don't seem to have rights. But when you get into the ticky-tacky bullshit of law, you could totally see someone being like, whoa. That case was about androids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
This
Positronic
is
The precedent doesn't
Well,
may
yeah,
not
and
transfer.
also like the precedent might not even apply much beyond that exact scenario.
Yeah. Like Starfleet has very little interest, clearly, in declaring artificial life.
Yeah.
So they are going to fight it tooth and nail as many times as they have to.
Well, like remember, like the decision in Measure of a Man was that data was not property.
Yeah.
And therefore couldn't be forced to report to be dissected. But like Data's circumstances are very different, I think, than the Doctor's, because like Data was designed as like a general purpose AI that could do anything. It just was basically an analog to a human brain.
And said, I want to join Starfleet.
Yeah.
Whereas the EMH was created by Starfleet
I was gonna say,
What
he
about
actually
as a-
pretty much is
well-
property. He's IP.
So there was the exocomps. Weren't they determined to be considered alive?
They were.
So I think you definitely can start to make an argument that like if the exocomps are alive, then the EMHs would be alive.
Oh, you definitely can, but I'm just
And
saying
so
they're
you
gonna.
can't just kill them.
Yeah,
Is it
I don't think- I
alive
don't-
versus alive with rights?
Well, still, even without rights, I don't think people would be like, yeah, you can just kill the exocomps. Like it's like Starfleet, supposedly would be like, no, you can't just kill cows. It's like they've gone beyond.
Except that one cow who knows
doing
what he did.
Yeah, I know. It's like supposedly they've gone beyond like using meat for food and whatever. So like killing things just to kill them is not good. So if you had like the holograms and like I guess in some way you could argue that every time you turn a holodeck on and off, you're like killing. Killing things that are at least as sapient as an exocomp.
Janeway's boyfriend, right? From
Michael
from Fairhaven. Same thing.
Oh yeah,
right?
totally. No, especially them. They way cross the line. I feel like they're obviously.
Yeah, they gotta be shut down.
No, no. Hey, stop being hollow Hitler.
Wow.
a Hitlergram.
Wow.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
No, that was from the Killing Game, James.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I agree. I think
Yeah.
it is ridiculous how they treat, or like how we're still having these conversations about hologram rights at this point. And that really, but it complicates things. Like you can't use if you have to say that everybody in the holodeck is a person and you can't turn them off, then you can't use the holodeck.
Right. Oh yeah, totally.
Moriarty has been imprisoned in a cube for years without trial.
I love that was like actually that's gonna go on my blogtivity thing. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, no, that's a freaking awful. Like is that was painted as like a happy ending. I'll complain about it later.
What about Pup?
Pup's a computer program, but same thing, I guess. It had its own.
Yeah, they specifically didn't kill it. They just let him live in the ship.
Yeah, I feel like that's at least
Or the station.
exocomp level. Like maybe they're not sapient with rights according to Starfleet, but like they're alive for sure. And you can't. And Starfleet still disproves of just killing stuff unless it's like a parasitic memory. I guess they're totally fine with that. That's another.
What's interesting is
Not okay.
they're having this conversation in the late 24th century. It will not be settled by the 32nd century. Because they have the same fucking conversation about Discovery's sentient computer in that show.
Oh dear.
So,
I'm gonna tell you, I hate that goddamn computer.
You have no rights because you're annoying.
No, it's just like that for me was just a bridge too far. We'll talk about it someday,
Yeah,
but I'm just
someday.
like I don't give a fuck about this fucking computer and its fucking feelings.
I loved when she was a one-off in a short track.
Yeah, that
great
was
episode,
fine.
great short track. Why did you have to be in the rest of the show? Sigh. What else on Lifeline though?
There was a whole lot of like medical consent problems in this episode. Like, it's better that Zimmerman is alive. However, he was constant.
He's a dick. I will let him go.
Regardless of all of that, he was denying treatment over and over and over and over, and like
coercion.
Like, and everyone was bulldozing him. Like, the doctor was like duplicitous about it. Like, it's like,
well, not to mention that creepy fucking massage.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
the
massage.
Not
the same
no,
thing,
that's he disguised himself as a masseuse so that he could scan Zimmerman. Like, that's not okay. Like, you shouldn't just be allowed to like scan people without their consent. And like the whole time it was like, Barkley was like, hey, Troy, do you want to come treat this guy who doesn't want to be treated by you? Like, it's like, the guy's allowed to say no. He should be allowed to say no. Like, I think it's better that he's alive. It's better to not die. But like, you also have a right to decline treatment.
Yeah,
and
you see what that is? This is the future liberals want.
Right.
Yeah. White cis heterosexual men have no rights. Sorry, go ahead, James.
Zimmerman, we're gonna make you a woman now.
Well, I think we've had this discussion before.
This is more like Zimmer woman.
Oh God!
Ooh,
Thanks,
I should not have said anything.
But you're like, I feel like this did come up before, where like Star Trek is very much rooted in our current society's ideas of like, of course you want to live forever. Yeah. Like, if the Federation doesn't have right to die, that's absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is very much a case where, like, it's like he'd accepted that this is what was going to happen.
Yeah. And
he was trying to live his final moments on his own terms. Well, like, if he wants a damn steak, let him have a fucking steak. He's dying.
Yeah,
like,
shit, that was such
like,
bullshit.
Don't force a salad on the poor guy.
He programmed her to do that.
Well,
so.
I get that. Well,
that he should
tricky.
Did he, or did she? Or did she?
Did she exceed her program?
You're right. She just actually cares. About
she's
this
like.
guy.
The doctor from Voyager, he exceeded his programming by becoming an artist and a musician and a photographer and doing all these amazing things.
Yeah,
and
she's a nutritionist.
Yeah,
she's just a nagging wife.
Yes, by becoming more of a nag.
Actually, that reminds me that there is one kind of nice thing that does come up in this episode, and that's that. So Zimmerman does fix EMH when he thinks he's glitching out, and he changes his little opening message, his little "you got mail" message, and he says, "Oh yeah, and I can also change your personality so that you're more compassionate and you're less of a dick and people hate you less and all these things." And EMH
projecting much, jeez.
And EMH says, "But I don't want those things.
Yeah.
I'm me." And Zimmerman doesn't force him to take that upgrade.
Which is a good thing that Dr. Zimmerman had more respect for the consent of the doctor than the doctor had for Dr. Zimmerman.
So the thing is, though, I think I agree with you, but I do think the thing that's missing is that it's not necessarily that Dr. Zimmerman wanted to die or didn't want medical treatment. He didn't want medical treatment from the EMH because he was racist against EMH.
Well, it was what it really comes down to is, because he talks about how embarrassing it is to, like, have this failed product have your face. But really, the unspoken thing was the entirety of Starfleet rejected him. Because the real issue was the personality.
Yeah.
Which was just him.
Yeah.
Like him as a physician instead of an engineer, but still just him.
Yeah, I laughed when EMH cracks wise about something. And he says, "I didn't program sarcasm." I'm like, he's been sarcastic since day fucking one.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was actually one of the few
Zimmerman,
things.
what?
That was one of the few things he was.
That's it. You didn't program him for it, but you based him on you, and you're a dick.
What was the nickname the people called the EMHs?
Extremely mediocre house call?
Yes, and emergency medical hotheads.
Yeah. Like, that's really what it came down to, is like, if it had just looked like him but not been his personality, I think it would have fucked with his head less.
But here's the thing. The fact that Starfleet like took them all out of commission and sent them to the shit mines,
yeah,
little bit of an overreaction there, because I honestly
they needed someone in the shit mines.
I guess so.
That call was definitely made.
It was like pluzzing. It was. What was I thinking? Plasma conduit, scrubbing plasma conduit.
I mean, but that was out of spite.
Yeah,
right.
No, that call was made by an admiral who had met him.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Him or one of the EMHs.
Because what you do,
Yes.
you don't recall them all and then send them to the ship mines. That's all I'm going to say from now on. You recall them all, you fix the issues, and you put them back in service. You don't have to build a whole brand new Mark II.
He claimed he tried to just fix the Mark 1 before deciding, fuck it, I'm just making a Mark 2.
Yeah, he spent like at least 2 days trying to fix that Mark 1.
I don't believe that.
I think they said 2 years.
Yeah. Well, there's only 6 years of time between.
Given his reaction to the Doctor and the way he was such an asshole about everything, makes me think that he didn't really try very hard. That he kind of was took his ball and went home kind of thing. Like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not fixing these goddamn things. Here, have Andy Dick. If you
Take that.
Yeah.
Take my face and go home.
I do like the idea that that's the reason the EMH Mark II was so neurotic. It's like, fine, you didn't like him? Have this asshole.
I'll give you the opposite.
The Mark III is actually just Reg, because he's just making them more and more fucking neurotic. The Mark IV is just Woody Allen. Ugh. Yeah, without the... Ugh.
Weird.
So, like, also Barkley? Kinda.
Was there a B plot on the ship on this episode?
Yeah,
I think it was just them setting up this monthly chat GPT
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
it was... chat GPT. What?
I don't know. Chat bot is more of a...
Yeah, I mean, it was just the... Oh, what are we going to tell Starfleet about all of the Maquis?
Yeah.
But that was like a one scene thing.
Yeah.
Right, that was like
That's
it's rare that there's like no B plot.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm kind of glad though. Like sometimes when they try to like force it in, it's just like feels overstuffed.
I feel like if
it doesn't need to be.
If there were a B plot, then the scenes between EMH and Zimmerman would have been rushed as fuck.
Yeah.
We would have ended up with one of the endings like last week, where it's like it just ends, and you're like, but wait, how did they get there?
yeah. I think it works in the
Let's
fact
say
that
Mo.
and the fact I only just kind of realized it now is like the episode was just engaging enough that it like wasn't really noticeable. Although it is also a little weird that like this episode takes over the course of an entire month.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if there was a B plot, it would have been there's some kind of medical emergency in Tom Paris.
Right. See, like, so
why is it still Tom Paris?
because he's the
still
nurse.
the only one.
He's the nurse. He's
Well,
been doing it the
son of a
longest. He
bitch.
took a biology course at Academy, so he knows what phalanges
He's like doing his
are.
case. Like, I'm thinking it's something wrong with your mitochondria. Have you been experiencing photosynthesis?
See, in a show where they could do continuity and stuff, I would probably have had this episode happen, and then the next episode just wouldn't have the Doctor, and it would just be something that happened between. You know, it's like it would probably focus on Tom as the Doctor.
I mean,
But,
yeah.
like-
Imagine if the next episode didn't really have the Doctor in it. That would be a shame.
You're right. That would be a shame. I have no.
Are we
further
moving on to the
I have
next
no
sentence?
further
Is that how
comments.
Jake wants to move
No,
on?
no,
to
no. I mean, I was
It's a
saying,
good segue if we wanna take it.
the next, like they honestly could have done
Yeah,
that,
because
yeah.
the Doctor is only seen very briefly to literally just shut himself off.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let's get on to that. Let's
Let's.
move on. Okay, so here we go. The Haunting of Deck 12 is another episode.
Section 42. Deck 12, Section 42. I looked it up. It's
No
Deck
shit.
12, Section 42. Because 42 gets shown up a lot in the episodes.
Oh, good. Okay, that's
I've been
what you're
thinking about
referring
it all week.
to. That's a long time to be thinking about it.
All week, 42s.
Do you know that 42 and 12 are also both factors of 2?
Yeah, and did you know that 21 is half of 42? And 20... I'm good.
Did you know that 21 is, if you multiply 7 and 3, which are both prime numbers, you get 21?
Do you know that
Oh,
21 is a winning hand?
In
This
blackjack?
episode is already long.
It's all connected.
Please.
It's all connected.
This is we
Okay,
spent
but
so
what about the number 23?
for the
It's
love of
everywhere.
Christ.
Please stop. We have to talk about this. For the love of God. One of these days, bang straight to the moon. Fuck you all. Alright, here we go. The Haunting of Deck 12-ish. So y'all remember, just now on Lifeline, we had Barkley and Troy as our guest stars.
Yes.
They tried to get Riker on this episode.
What?
Oh.
Because it's basically beyond belief.
Okay.
I thought you were saying...
Oh,
No,
Took me a minute.
that was my joke. I have a great joke. So let me tell you the story and we can decide if it is fact or fiction.
Oh.
Have you ever been to a J-class nebula?
No.
Well, the Voyager crew did.
Have you ever ridden a bike?
The Voyager crew was visiting one, and the experience they had, was out of this world.
Oh, this is better than the episode.
But really, okay, so we're at a nebula, and for reasons that will be explained, apparently, everyone's preparing for a full shit down. Nope, a full systems shutdown. This is going great. This is going amazing. It's mostly going to be the lighting because lots of other systems are still working afterwards, but fuck it. Go with me here. Neelix, however, he's tasked with keeping the dronelings from getting scared of the dark.
Oh, the dronelings.
Are you scared of the dark?
Yes.
Different show.
Different show. We're back to Beyond Belief. Here we go. Immediately, they assume, well, it's obviously because Deck 12 is haunted, right, Neelix? And that's the logical deduction. So Neelix decides, well, in that case, I'll just tell you a ghost story.
Another logical deduction.
Before you dronelings joined the Voyager, we were visiting a nebula a lot like this one. And bad things started happening all over the ship. Seven got attacked by a monster. Paris got blasted in the face, and not in the fun way.
I love when Ames is blue. It's the best.
Oh, you
really never see it coming.
It's tactically utilized.
And worst of all, the worst thing that happens, Janeway's coffee tasted terrible. What is going on the ship, guys? So all our systems are going down one by one, and it forces the whole crew eventually into engineering. And Janeway, for like the millionth time this season, she decides it's a life form trying to communicate. Sure, Janeway, of course it is. They always are. And it is! The life form is just trying to get back to that nebula. And Janeway says, fine. If it'll stop you from constantly destroying the ship, let's go. But whenever they get there, the nebula's gone now. Sorry, life form, we can't help you anymore. You want us to bring you to a new one? We'll try. But the life form is fucking pissed. And orders everybody off the ship. Voyager is mine now, bitches! So everyone else abandons ship, and life form stops Janeway from leaving, and is threatening to kill her a whole lot. And Janeway says, fine, go a fucking head, but you need me to run this ship. And find yourself a nebula, so you won't do it. And she's dying and dying and dying. And life form finally says, drat, you're right. So we pack up life form onto Deck 12 until today, when Neelix is telling this story to the dronelings. We've come full circle, kids. And Icheb says, pout, pout, pout. Why does that story have bad science and plot holes? And Tuvok actually getting along with Neelix all the time? That would never happen. And clearly, Neelix made the whole thing up. How quaint. Or did he? Was the story of the life form real? Or are we just full of hot nebula air?
No, it was real. Of course it was. Why are you even asking that? Of course it was real.
Not this time. We created it. Not this time.
Thank you, Jake.
Not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up.
How long
It's
is
a made-up
this?
tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened.
This is 47 seconds of Jonathan Frakes telling you you're wrong.
It's false.
I think we've got the point.
Yay!
Oh, okay. So, I was mostly bored by this, but I have to give credit to the little Midnight Society scenes, because Ethan Phillips did very well.
What is that you're talking about?
Oh, that's the Are You Afraid of the Dark stuff.
Oh!
Yeah.
Wow.
They would cut
so
to the
long.
kids around the fire.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
he did a good job being like, the adults telling a creepy story.
Yeah, like, I feel like nothing about those scenes was interesting or engaging for me, except for him.
Yeah, no, he's the only good part of those scenes.
Well, because it was mostly the twins being awful.
Hate the twins.
The twins
I still like
the
Bazzoki.
twins are scarier than most anything. That
Yeah, no, they are creepy. I loathe them.
Can we count every episode they're in as a horror episode, Ames?
And they spoke way too much in this one.
They did talk a lot.
I know we made crack with the fact they never had lines before. I now regret it. They should have kept them that way.
They should have spaced them immediately.
Oh, God, yes. Right
Like
in
they
the
did to the
tube.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh no, baby Borg. They're also doing that thing with child actors that I think I pointed out in the Tuvok having to hang out with kids on Planet Innocence, I think. Where, because they're child actors and you try to treat them all equally, they each will just have, like, a line in succession, and it's very clear that you're just divvying the lines up among kids.
Only let Girlface talk.
Yeah, she's good. She's the good one.
Yeah.
Well, the older boy's okay, too.
He's fine. But of the four of them, she's definitely the best.
That actress looks like exactly the same. Like, I think you'd recognize her just if you looked at a picture. She looks so similar, except not 12.
Right.
I was surprised. Like I know, it was about keeping the drones calm, but I'm surprised they didn't have Naomi Wildman in that little circle as well.
That's true. Well, she was there when the original thing happened, so maybe she already knew.
Yeah, but why not have all the kids together?
I guess she's
how long ago was it?
What? No, I thought this happened like right before the.
Oh, was it
Jones
right? Yeah, I guess
aboard.
they didn't really. Did they set a time frame for when this happened?
I thought it was just before.
Oh, maybe.
It wasn't like when we had Kess or anything.
But it also sounded like, I don't know that it was necessarily public knowledge among the crew, really, everything that was going on.
They almost had to jettison
They
themselves.
abandoned ship.
Of
They
course.
actually abandoned ship.
Yeah, but
they had to know
do
why.
they know? But yeah, but do they know that there's still an alien creature in?
They can't go on deck 12.
Why wouldn't they know?
I don't know.
I think they would know.
Yeah, I think
Then why didn't the Borg, the dronelings know?
Because then there wouldn't have been an episode.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the main reason for keeping her somewhere else, even though it makes no sense in universe, is because just in episode, she could go like, no, this really happened, guys.
Right.
I can attest to, or I can say how much Neelix was exaggerating or not.
Yeah.
We're getting all the details wrong, and each him calling him out for it each time. It's like that's not what thing did he use? Plasma something.
Yeah, something to do
Was
with
it
the
Broussard?
collectors.
Yes.
Wrong energy.
That's not how they work.
I did like a lot of the cinematography in this episode when like things were going fucky. Like there was a whole scene where when the replicator malfunctions that is shot from inside the replicator.
That was cool.
And that's really well done. Then Chakotay's sort of when he's on his way to engineering and gets sent the wrong place several times, and then the elevator tries to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It was they did a lot of handheld work there, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I also thought the scenes that were lit just by their little lanterns were all really cool. It made me wonder, like, they don't have, like, backup lights. Most places have backup lights. They can still use their comms, and Harry's still on his computer display, but no, we can't have lights. All right. It's a little silly.
That's not a ghost story.
That's true. It made it creepy.
I mean, we also don't know necessarily that. I mean, that could have been an exaggeration. That
it was just in Neelix's story.
Neelix's
but the
story.
lights were out right now, like the live part. The
Yeah,
lights
but I
were
thought
out.
that was because they wanted to shut down all of the ship systems so that they just wouldn't get fucked with.
Yeah, that was all on purpose.
Yeah,
it had something to do with
reasons.
Yeah, it was the energy life form. If it could infect any system that was on, it seemed like.
But that's when Harry was still using his computer, and he
was texting it.
They
He was saying, "Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry things went so bad.
Hey, babe.
I have really bad taste in women. This is how it always goes." And then they had to say goodbye.
Wow.
What, you think Harry wouldn't fall in love with an energy entity? Why not?
I think he would fall in love with anything.
Yeah.
But I also think that if he fell in love with an energy entity, this isn't the one, because he never falls in love with the right energy entity of any kind. This is the energy entity he loves, twin sister, who's seeking revenge for not loving her.
That's true. Yeah, it's really sad. Because that was a really nice relationship they had together. There was a real spark there.
Oh, God.
I hope I said that quiet enough that no one hears it.
Oh, no, I will make sure to turn that up if I have to.
At the beginning, when the crew is looking at the nebula, and they're like, "Oh, it's so spooky," and I think like Tom Barrett says like it looks like something out of Edgar Allan Poe, and then Ensign Kim is like, "It looks like a vampire bat. You can see the outline," and then it shows the screen and shows the nebula, and like none of that is true in any way.
It looks like a chicken nugget. I don't know.
I could kind of see the vampire bat.
There was no vampire.
I could see it.
It looked like someone vomited after too much Guinness.
I could see it.
No, I like it though, because when they're talking about how, oh God, if the children learn anything, their imaginations will go wild. Meanwhile, their imaginations are going wild looking at a nebula.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that's fair. It feels weird that like there was like they didn't give the kids any warning. They literally woke them up in the middle of the night.
I think, did they just come across this nebula and not realize it was going to be there? Or
It sounded like they were prepared for it.
Yeah,
Right.
it did.
Like, so it's like, just tell the kids what's going on. They live on a spaceship.
yeah,
Do you think a
They are-
energy entity is too much for
I mean,
Borg
this-
children?
yeah.
Seriously, they're not just they're not ordinary
Yeah.
children.
If it were Naomi, like, Naomi has had some weird trauma in, like, the
Yeah.
Fodder program.
Well, yeah.
And why
and
wasn't
the
she
Borg
there?
children haven't had trauma.
But they understand it, because they have Borg memories.
Those Borg kids tried and failed to assimilate people. There was, like, Borg corpses that they
Yes.
failed. You know what probably happened right before they died? Their minds probably connected to the person dying on the table from the botched assimilation. These kids can handle, like, the dark for 3 hours.
Yeah.
They also probably have better eyesight in the dark, right? Because they got Borg eyes.
Yeah, true. Like, they'll be fine. So it just feels so weird that it's like, why did this scare them? Well, because Neelix made it a scary story. That part makes
Well, maybe
sense.
they
but
weren't
it's just they
scared.
could've
Maybe they were
prepared.
just making sure they weren't scared because they're
Yeah.
children. But
Yeah.
why wasn't
No,
Naomi Wildman there?
Yeah, Naomi should have.
We already said, just
Yeah, well,
because
originally,
it
yeah.
would have fucked up the plot.
Well, yeah, because originally Neelix didn't go with the intention to tell a scary story. He was going to tell a Fodder story.
Oh, right, yeah. And the kids were like,
and the kids
oh,
were like,
that's
we
for
don't-
babies.
Yeah, we don't want to hear this fucking baby shit. No, tell us something cool. Tell us a ghost story. So,
Tell us what's in Deck 12. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it.
yeah,
Called my
I mean,
bluff
I guess,
children.
Like, it was like initially 7 of 9 just told the Neelix, can you just go spend time with them so they don't, so they have someone there. So really, he was just there to kind of
Babysit.
chaperone,
Yeah.
babysit.
Should have been 7 of 9's job. 9's job.
Well, they needed her to do
Yeah,
science.
Why?
she's
The
probably
computers
more
are all
useful
off.
during-
She
Well,
should probably have turned herself off. She's got computers in her head.
Maybe she did.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's what
she's
she
just
was.
taking a nap somewhere. I feel like this episode, I don't really like this episode.
It's
very
deeply
much.
middling
I-
at best.
Yeah, it's not a great episode.
It's
Like,
not bad. It's
It's got
just
some
not-
good moments. It's
I-
got some good Janeway
Yeah,
moments.
but I really, oh god, yeah, to cut myself off, freaking Kate Mulgrew at the end acting her freaking heart out.
Oh, yeah.
When she's like dying and like choking and
I won't be your prisoner. You'll have to kill me. Yes,
as
Janeway.
she's gasping for air and
I'll
like,
blow
is
up this fucking ship.
freaking wild. But anyway, so I really, really like the conceit of the episode, which is Neelix tells children a Star Trek episode.
Mm.
And I think you could have done a lot of really interesting things with that. Because as this episode is, it is straight just Neelix synopses a Star Trek episode and does so accurately for what it seems
Yeah,
like.
there should have been a lot more
When
liberties
yeah,
taken.
anything where if Neelix isn't in the room, things
Neelix
should be
didn't
weird.
Neelix didn't save Tuvok. Tuvok saved Neelix.
Right, yeah.
Whenever
or like,
Neelix is in the room, someone
Yeah.
should be saying, "Where's Neelix?"
like it wouldn't even necessarily have to go to the point of parody, but just kind of being like the whole flashback could have been shot in different ways so it didn't look like a Star Trek episode. Like there was the cool
Yeah, I
camera
think they
work.
did some stuff.
But I think that was just taking advantage of cool camera work. Had they removed the ghost story framing,
It would have been a normal Star Trek episode.
everything
Yeah.
about it would be the same.
No, you're right.
And-
I think it would have been nice to see, like, maybe exaggerated character. Like, maybe not completely over the top, but just a little exaggerated, a little this. Maybe this is the Neelix interpretation of these people.
There's this game called, it's like Call of War has Gunslinger, I think, and the whole thing is a guy's in a bar telling a story about his exploits as a kid, as like a young gunslinger, and through the game he's telling the story, and then like sometimes it'll cut in and like a kid at the bar will be like, wait, did that really happen? And the guy's like, well, I don't really quite remember all the details, so maybe that guy wasn't there. But this other guy was, and then it cuts back into the game, and literally the world shifts around as the story is changing as the guy is telling it because he got details wrong. Like like when he's challenged on stuff, like literally parts of the level would fly up into the sky, and like a barn would fall down.
Oh, cute. That's cool.
So stuff like that, and so like that could have like something similar could have been where like when a kid challenges something, he's like, oh, I just misremembered it, and then it cuts back and it's just like a different scene.
Yeah, I think the thing that this episode fails at is that kind of, it tries to do the twist, did this happen or did this not? Jonathan Frakes will tell you at the end of the episode, yes, it wasn't real. It's based on a story from miners in the 1200s. And it didn't use any of that. Like, it starts off like, no, this is just what happened. This is actually a Star Trek episode. You can tell because I literally walked in having told you, having known what was going on. And then at the end, it's like, oh no, it's a lie. But literally 12 seconds later, oh, it was the truth. There must have been a better way so that it would sound like, no, this is just a story Neelix is telling them to keep them occupied during this lights out time. maybe if they cut the whole beginning where it showed everyone preparing for lights out time and them telling him to go to the kids, if it just started with the kids and him saying, I will tell you a ghost story, and then saying at the end, oh, it didn't happen, and then somehow we see like, oh, it actually did.
That would have been really interesting if the opening shot was the kids wake up and it's dark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like they step out of their alcoves and
So
there's nothing going on, and then Neelix kind of runs in and is like, oh shit, hi. like they kind of forgot that that part was going to happen because the rest of the crew's doing their stuff.
Yeah, it's like all we're really left with at the end is, all right, so it happened. How much was exaggerated? But again, none of it felt exaggerated enough that it's like at best, maybe he took some liberties with dialogue for scenes he wasn't actually directly there for. I don't care.
Yeah, it really does kind of feel like maybe the only part he would have lied about is saving Tuvok, which then completely undoes it's like the Neelix Tuvok interactions, which are usually really good. It's like Neelix saying no, I'm not going to just let you die here.
I love that scene.
In the Jeffries tubes, that's a really good moment in the episode. Is him being no, I'm. It's we'll die together basically if we don't both make it out of here. That's a great moment, which might be a lie. Great, thanks for that, I guess.
I actually did have one where he was Tuvok was giving him the meditation technique. He's like, just think back to a happy moment. And I wanted him to be I said, oh man. Meanwhile, he's like, Tuvok, he's never had a happy moment till he got to this damn ship. His life has been so much pain and suffering. And then what he flashes back to is something on Voyager. So actually, I was right.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, it's just the conceit of a character explaining a Star Trek episode, but then telling it with characteristics and in a way that is not Star Trek is really interesting, and they just don't do that. They have a character tell a Star Trek story in a Star Trek way.
Yeah, it almost feels like the frame is bolted on at the end.
Yeah.
They had a different episode. They had the episode, and they're like, oh, it's running short. Okay, what are we going to do? Oh, let's make it a ghost story.
Yeah, this feels like one of those classic, oh, you'll never believe what the original pitch for this episode was. Except I guess the original pitch was just, there's an energy entity, and it takes over the ship, which sounds pretty bog standard, actually.
Yeah. Nothing special.
As this is an audio medium, none of you saw me look at Ames please say there's a crazy original pitch. Sadly, there is not.
Yeah, not that I know of. I do know that this episode was nominated for an Emmy for special visual effects.
Fair enough.
Speaking to Jake's level of visual effects.
Yeah, well, mostly, I was mostly the camera work, but I imagine the visual effects they're talking about are the alien...
The nebula stuff, all
Nebula,
the stuff that
the
comes
electricity shocking everybody.
They got Tom in the face.
Oh,
ouch.
I'll actually say there's a scene where the coffee... So Janeway tastes coffee and it's bad, so she has the coffee remade.
I love that.
And the ship replicates the coffee mid-air, which then falls to the ground and makes a mess, and then replicates the coffee.
I love that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And that effect worked surprisingly well.
Yeah,
that
looked
still
really
held up.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because I was trying to think how would they have done that? And I wonder if it just because the coffee briefly appears as a cylinder of coffee, it would be how it would have to make the coffee. Which I guess you never really think about that. When the replicator replicates liquids, it has to replicate them in the shape of the container that they're in.
Yep.
So that must have been CG, and then they just
they would CG the cylinder, and then they would composite with a shot of someone pouring coffee onto
that plate. Yeah. Which I don't know. It did look really good.
Yeah. It did. Yeah. Yeah. It's
y'all are wicked smart.
Now, speaking of being wicked smart, so we learned a new Vulcan superpower, and that's that Vulcans don't sweat unless it's 350 degrees Kelvin. And I checked what that was, and that is 170 degrees Fahrenheit.
Jiminy Christmas.
That's hot. That's hot, but that feels like Alien okay hot. It feels reasonable.
Well, from Alien from a goddamn
lava nightmare
desert nightmare planet that was irradiated. Yeah, I'd buy it. And now, of course, I'm sitting here trying to be that asshole, trying to be ever seen a Vulcan sweat before.
Yeah, probably. When one of Spock's freakouts, he was probably sweaty and...
When he's half human.
That's right.
No.
You're right. Excuse me.
So he starts sweating at 125.
This episode had an interesting return of Ensign Celis.
Yeah, we met her just the other week. She's
that
still
was
It
her.
was her. I actually
Okay.
asked that. I was like, oh, isn't that what's her name from the fuck up?
And I was like,
episode?
I don't fucking know.
So this episode, since it takes place before the dronelings were on board, means that it was well before Good Shepherd.
Good point.
So she's still just the crew fuck up.
Even after
Which
Good
is-
Shepherd,
I mean,
she's
yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck
she's-
up.
Well, which is why Seven was there, like being like, "Did you fuck this up?" And she
That
was
was-
like, "No, I
that
didn't even
was-
touch it."
That was
And-
really
and he-
funny. Celis literally walks up to a panel, pulls it off, and Seven walks around the corner. Is like, "What'd you do?"
And like,
still up here.
even after she's like, yeah, no, I didn't touch anything yet. I just opened the panel. Like Seven's sitting there, she's looking at it. She's like, you fucked up and you know it.
You somehow opened the panel
Seven
wrong.
hates her so much.
So much. I hate her so much.
And then later Celis like slams into Harry Kim
Yeah.
because it's dark. And she's like freaking out in a really weird way for a crew member of the Voyager, because she's
Yeah.
like, isn't that what hostile aliens do? They shut off the power and then
Has
but
this
it's like-
happened before?
it was
We
like-
get-
it's
we
like-
get overrun by hostile aliens all the
it's like,
time. honey.
you should know exactly. You should, if you're asking that question, like maybe you should
But
stay
she's-
at the lower decks.
But she's
like,
a new character to us, which means she has no other experiences
Yeah.
before her episode.
Right.
And also, it's in character given how much of a massive fuck up she is.
right.
She's somehow actually just slept through all the other crises.
Yeah.
She was studying. The red alarm goes off. Red alert goes off. She just deactivates it and keeps studying. She's like, "I'll die or we'll solve it. It doesn't matter. They don't need me."
Oh,
we don't
oh. I have a soft spot for Bajorans.
I like
Not
Celis.
unlike,
I actually have
not
no
unlike
problem.
Golden Cot. Don't give me that.
You're both awful.
I have no problem with Celis. I think she was an interesting character, and it's a shame that I think this is the last time we ever see her.
Oh, probably.
I feel a great kinship with her
Yeah, no.
because
me too,
I'm like,
yeah.
yep, I fuck up shit by just existing too. So
This episode also had one of those really fun instances of a character being like, "Oh yeah, no, I have this personality trait and I've always had it." Where Janeway talks about talking to the ship.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that.
that.
Yeah.
And like Chakotay's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just talking to the ship like I always do."
Yeah.
Yeah, but that could just be some shit that Neelix made up because he was narrating.
True.
And
Oh, I
then
like that
Janeway said to the ship, she was whispering to the ship.
You know, she always talks to the ship. You
It's-
know Janeway,
It's
right?
foreshadowing for later in the episode when she's talking to Majel Barrett being the energy being.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just like they needed that for they wanted the poignant moment of talking to the ship and like engaging with it, and so they were like, "Oh, let's have Janeway act like she always talks to the ship, and then we'll never have her talk to the ship again."
Yeah, basically. Strange decision. Oh, what did you guys think of the story that the story within the story?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That Neelix tells the kids of the Salvoria, that Talaxian freighter that was suffering cascade
Oh, God,
failure.
that
Like,
sounds
whoa.
fucking
That was
horrible.
way better. Like, that's a way better horror story than anything else that happens in this episode. I was like, I want to hear more about that. That's nightmarish. Like, these Talaxian crew stuck on a ship that's like losing oxygen, and so they're drawing lots to see who will off themselves so the rest can survive.
That
And then
sucks.
not only do they all die, it takes like 70 years before the ship is even found. Like, they never had a chance.
No.
Like, they were
What
doomed
happened to
from
the
the
last
start.
when there were just two guys left? They're like, they still haven't found us, and it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors for it.
Right. Although the response after that was definitely written by someone who has kids, because the dronelings were like, "What happened to the bodies? Like, were they decomposed?"
well, wouldn't they?
Well, I mean,
Well,
Each-
there's no oxygen,
That's-
probably not, right?
Ichib brought that up.
Oh, did
Ichib
he?
was like, "Well, the airlessness probably would preserve their bodies." They were just gonna debate like what happened to the corpses on this ship for a while.
See, I told you I liked Icheb. We were
yeah.
right there together.
Yeah, there was a very cute moment where they're trying to figure out what kind of a being the life form was. And they're like, oh, it could be this or this or this. And Neelix says, hey, do you want to hear a horror story?
Yeah.
Or do you want to debate xenobiology? And I expected Mazzotti to be like, can we debate xenobiology?
Right. I did like in that scene, like, they don't even say species names, they just say the numbers, the
Yeah.
board designations. And so Neelix is just like, I have no idea what these kids are talking
Which
about.
one is that again?
It's like an uncle like hearing like two kids start talking about like whatever mobile game they've been playing, like Roblox or whatever.
How many Pokemons do you have? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, kid.
Fortnite.
Thanks, Jake.
I know kids like that.
TikTok dances.
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Mazzotti had a cute line too. She says, "Snacks are irrelevant."
Oh, yeah.
And I like to say, damn, I still like her.
You're
Son of a
wrong.
bitch.
Yeah, she's wrong about
Yeah,
snacks.
as I say,
You've
snacks
never
are
been
not
more
irrelevant. Snacks are very
I spent
relevant.
$50 on snacks yesterday at H Mart. It was worth it.
Oh, I
So what,
love
you had 3
H Mart.
snacks?
So good.
Which
That's
H Mart?
So much mochi. I can't remember. I didn't drive there.
Oh, fair enough.
I wasn't in the driver's seat.
I used to go to the Central Square one
Yeah.
all the time because they've got a curry place there
Oh yeah.
and a nice French bakery type situation.
Yeah, I think I was at the one I was
The
like in
balls,
Burlington.
I like that. Oh, that one's good too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love H
Yeah,
Mart,
I see.
and I love Asian candy, and I love
Mhm.
curry.
Neat. I don't think I have anything else I wrote down about this episode.
It's so straightforward in a
Yeah.
weird way, like despite the framing.
It kind of
and-
needed the framing to be interesting, but then
Oh.
I don't think they did
Yeah.
the framework well.
This is a good chance. This is definitely one of those ones where I will have already forgotten the episode by the time I'm editing this.
Oh, I was going to say, by next week when we're picking our tops and bottoms, which,
And
holy
that.
shit,
Oh,
is
yeah.
next week, guys.
Whoa,
That's insane.
I'm so sad. I really liked Voyager, and I'm sad that we're almost out
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
getting there.
Wow. You know what we do have? We have lots of horror episodes. And also ones, there will be more upcoming in other Star Treks. And holy shit, Star Trek doesn't usually do horror very well, guys.
No.
I don't know why they try to do it. Like there will be like moments that are actually like, oh wow, yeah, that's off-putting. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But when you look at a whole episode, if they try to do a horror episode, it's usually just kind of lacking.
Are they
something.
worse at horror episodes or comedy episodes?
Horror.
That is a tough question.
Yeah, there's some comedy episodes that actually work. There's not a lot of horror episodes. that
Name
do.
5.
I said some.
The best horror episode that I can think of is the one where B'Elanna is on that ship that needs repairing, and like,
Oh, with the
Dreadnought?
hologram. No,
No,
with
not
the
Dreadnought.
evil hologram.
yeah.
Oh, Hitler. Mengele. That one.
No.
No, so the Doctor and B'Elanna go to a ship, and there's like a hologram on the ship that had killed the whole crew.
that
Yeah,
guy.
that
I
one.
remember that.
Yes.
That's a wicked good episode.
Yeah,
And I'm glad you could remember more than me,
Yeah,
because
that was
all
a
I
good
remembered
one.
was B'Elanna, some aliens, and creepy.
Yeah.
Like, those were the things I remember.
that actor was like
You saved me.
That one
wildly
is pretty
wildly
good.
upsetting. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is downright creepy. What the
Yeah.
fuck is it
I
called?
thought you were talking about that awful poison gas hauler one where they had the fucking Phantom of the Opera guy.
Well, that
yeah.
counts as a horror.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
not
it's
horror,
just
but
not
it's just not good.
good.
Yeah.
Revulsion.
Yeah.
Revulsion is
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
that's
Revulsion's
right.
good.
Yeah.
That
he
other
hates-
one that
hates biologicals.
Yeah, that other one I can't think of the name of wasn't good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I may be conflating the two. I really don't.
No,
know.
the one
you-
you're thinking of is the right one.
And it's good.
And then there's the one that they're in like
It's like a radiation monster.
Yeah.
they're on the ship with the radiation leak, and they believe that there's like legends of a monster, but it turns out the monsters are just their crew that have been.
No, I was thinking of that one.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
Were you?
I don't know. Maybe I'm conflating them and putting two different
Juggernaut.
episodes
Yeah.
together.
Juggernaut.
But
is the
either
one with the
way,
monster.
I like both of those.
okay.
I think both of those are pretty creepy. Yeah.
I think it needs to be said so we get it in here early because it should be top of the list. But Night Terrors in
Oh,
TNG
yeah,
with
Night Terrors.
Deanna Troi.
Where are you?
Where are
I'm
you?
trying to find you.
See, here's the thing about Night Terrors.
One
It has-
moon.
Yeah. The Troy stuff, stupid and repetitive and not scary. Everything else that happens during that episode is actually frightening.
I
Like-
literally don't remember the rest of it, so please
The
explain.
rest of it is,
Yeah.
and nobody on the ship can dream.
So they're
Oh.
all
Yeah.
hallucinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everything they're hallucinating is fucking wrong. Like, there is a scene that is actually probably the creepiest moment I can think of in Trek, where Bev is alone in sickbay with a bunch of corpses on tables under a sheet. And
And they all-
a look comes in her eyes like, something's wrong. And all the bodies are sitting straight up.
Nope.
And it's like, oh!
That's
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I don't like
I
that.
was gonna say,
I-
that sounds like zombies, and I hate zombies.
I don't remember that one well enough beyond the Troy stuff to have an opinion, so maybe that one was good.
Yeah,
Now I want to
remember-
watch it.
And honestly, like, the only dumb shit about the Troy, in my opinion, Troy stuff was
acting.
the
dangling.
acting and like the special effect of her flying through that cloud room.
Mm.
I felt like the story itself. So spoiler alert for a show we watched years ago.
And yes, spoilers for your bad memories.
Oh, that's me.
It
That's
turns
Crystal,
out that
apparently.
there's aliens that are also trapped in this same spatial anomaly, and that's who she's been talking to in her dream world. And they're trying to communicate, and all that they're trying to tell them to do is release hydrogen so that they can ignite it with their stuff, and then both ships get free of the anomaly. So
and there's that other Betazoid, the other Betazoid guy who's lost his mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Because there was another ship that the entire crew murdered each other.
Right.
And the only survivor was this one Betazoid.
Yeah, I think this is also the one where, because everyone is lacking REM sleep and hallucinating all over the place, and Picard is in a turbo lift that's going up, and it suddenly looks like the ceiling's coming down on him, and he's just looking up, screaming, and then the turbo lift doors open, and someone's like, "Captain?" And he gets up off the floor like, "I'm fine now."
Everything's dandy.
What about Wolf in the Fold? Question mark? Is that what that episode's called?
Yeah, with Scotty and the
Ghost,
Jack the Ripper.
ghost
constant
thing.
murdering.
Yeah.
There's definitely some weird like horror stuff. Like the seance is very horror episode tropey. Of let's talk with ghosts. Don't tell Bev.
And there's it's a seance.
Yeah, that's a real good horror one. Sub Rosa.
Yeah.
Reading your grandmother's fucking sex diaries?
Ugh.
That is that's the shit nightmares are
It is
made of.
kind of a horror story.
It takes place in space Scotland, so
yeah. Like I don't think it's
scary?
scary. I don't
Scotland
think it's scary,
is the
but...
spookiest country. Everyone knows that.
But
I don't know if I think so.
It
Old
feels
Scottish
like an
castles,
adaptation of a
spooky.
horror tale. Like
It's literally an
Highlanders?
adaptation of a
Yeah,
horror
spooky.
tale, isn't it?
Pennsylvania? Vampires.
Pennsylvania?
No. Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The Amish.
Yeah, now you're telling.
Didn't we learn when we were talking Sub Rosa 8,000 years ago that it was the writer's take on Taming of the Shrew? Turning of the Screw. Not
Taming
Shrew.
of the Shrew.
I get those confused.
Turning
God
of the
damn
Shrew.
it.
Of the Shrew.
Son of a bitch.
Turning of the
Screw. Which is a horror story, and it's weird and creepy.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Shit.
I do know Taming of the Shrew, and I was very confused. I was like, Bev can only fuck the ghost if she finds her sister a ghost to fuck. Do you hate when that happens? Fucking
Amazing.
dads, am I right?
Amazing.
Here's a good horror
Is it
episode.
good, or is it just a good example?
It's a good example. It might be good. Schisms.
Schisms. Yeah, Schisms is
That's
creepy.
another one where people appear not to be sleeping, but it's actually because they've been being abducted in their sleep and being experimented on by aliens.
Yeah.
Is this Voyager?
No, it's
This
TNG.
is TNG. This is the one we make fun of a lot because it's the one where they have the holodeck make them a table.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
not
like,
a table like that.
Make
More a table like
Make it
this.
taller. Make it a little wider. Now make it exactly like what we're thinking, but don't take. But we're not going to tell you how that is.
Yeah, it does it magically, and that scene is very annoying
But,
and
like,
dumb. But the rest of the episode is creepy.
Yeah, there's some like body horror. Like there's a point where like Bev is examining somebody, Riker or somebody, and she's like, "Yeah, somebody has removed your arm."
Oh, yeah, that was
and,
Riker.
And sewed it back on. And I don't remember doing that.
Not it.
That's wild. I don't remember that at all.
Along with body horror, is it
yes.
Genesis?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
It's a comedy episode.
Spider Barkley. Spider Barkley is actually scary.
That episode's terrible.
I mean, it's tense though because there's a monster behind every door, and granted, it's stupid, but the monster's jumping out at you is
love
scary.
it.
See,
It's one of my favorite.
The problem
episodes.
is, like, yeah, sometimes it's Spider Barkley, other times it's Fish Person. It's like...
That's
That's
scary.
creepy. I did not like that
They're
scene.
a very
That's
handsome
very
race,
upsetting.
Chris.
Nice.
You got Worf chasing you down the whole time.
Trying to bite Troy in the face.
Spit acid.
Oh yeah, when he spits acid in Bev's face, that's
That's
and
right.
And then she's
she
gone.
Screams
And
for
she's
a
gone.
long
That's right.
I think
time.
she's
Yeah.
gone for the rest of the episode too.
Well, so
I
she
don't think
directed
she-
it. That's why.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's right.
So would you be if you had a face full of acid?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not blaming her. She's still a consummate professional.
I feel like Tom Paris didn't really, speaking of this week, was it this week?
Was
Didn't
it?
react that much with his burned off acid face. Was that this week or last week?
Oh,
That
that was in Haunting of Deck 12.
It wasn't acid, it was electricity.
Well, either way, he seemed pretty okay about
The
it.
makeup was gross.
It was
Yeah.
really gross.
Maybe it's because he was just in shock.
Speaking of Bev Crusher,
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to throw Remember Me in as a
Oh,
horror
really?
episode.
Yep.
Is that the one
I
where
was-
the crew
Just-
keeps getting smaller and
Yeah,
smaller,
like-
and then it's just her?
And it's different kind of horror. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's an
traditional.
existential
Psychological.
Yeah, like a gaslighting type situation.
I mean, it does get funny at the end when the ship is like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, the universe is about 5 miles across. Why? We've never needed a crew
Or like
before.
there's a hull breach. Why? Well, there's a design flaw in the ship. They designed the ship to be larger than the universe.
Who's they?
I fucking hate when that happens.
I'm the only one
That
left.
was another great episode.
I think the one where Troy gets alien pregnant and doesn't even get to have
Yes.
sex is pretty horrifying.
I'm glad you brought that up because
Mostly
I thought
because,
that one too.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up because that is it's high on my list of that's fucking horrifying to just wake up and realize I have been violated by a floating light and it's knocked me up against my will. Fucking horror show.
Yeah, they're better at existential horror than horror.
I think
Listen,
existential horror Star Trek does pretty well.
Yes.
I just
Most
can't.
of mine are that.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're our guest.
Be our guest.
Damn it, be our guest, be our guest.
Yeah, that was last week.
I know, I'm so mad. No, I was just saying that because waking up pregnant would be the worst thing I can imagine. So
Me too.
TOS, of course, never did a good horror episode.
They did a bad horror episode.
They did a
though.
Halloween episode,
They
is what they
did.
fucking
Oh,
did.
with the giant cat.
Oh my
Cat's
god.
paw.
Cat's paw.
It's
Oh, yeah,
so
cat's paw.
bad.
Good.
The like
Nothing
fucking
is scary in
cheap
it.
skeleton dangling from the wall. Like
Oh my god.
again, you want to call it a Halloween episode? I'll give you that, but it is not a horror episode.
It's got those crooning witches in the
I mean,
graveyard.
it's in a creepy castle.
Yeah.
in Scotland,
Sure.
Space Scotland.
Space Scotland. Oh, the scariest one of all, possibly. Maybe.
Let's find out.
Distant Voices.
How?
Oh.
Why?
He's turning 30.
Oh
Dun,
my
dun,
god.
dun.
I would say that we're talking horror tropes. First Contact, the movie,
Oh,
is
yeah?
a
Yeah.
horror movie.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I would say that makes sense.
It's a zombie
It's like
film.
it's action horror, but
Yeah.
It's
But yeah,
yeah.
The
they're
first.
just
Go ahead.
definitely using like some zombie tropes, a bit of the vampire thing going on. Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of times when we've talked about Borg stuff, I've said anytime you're walking around Borg Cube or Borgified space, it is a haunted fucking house.
Yeah, it's
It
creepy.
is creepy
Because
as
they're all
hell.
just there, but they're not moving yet. Because they don't think,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fucked.
Like there's a moment. I'm ruining Prodigy for Rossi yet again.
Don't listen, Rossi.
Don't listen, Rossi. But there is a moment when we walk by some Borg and it's fucking terrifying.
What about the first time we meet the Borg? I feel like that was creepy as shit. Am I wrong? I don't know.
The Q one.
Q2.
they're not playing up the horror element as much. Like
Q-Who.
Or is it maybe the second time?
no, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, they're just this weird,
The thing is,
unstoppable force.
It's
I feel like
fear
part
of
of-
unknown.
I feel like
Yeah.
part of what makes the Borg scary is the dark, dim lighting as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
like the Borg cubes in TNG were too well lit to be really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get scarier. Like in Voyager, they're scary. In
Also-
First Contact, they
Well,
make
it
the
seemed like
ship scary.
Dark and damp.
Well, I
It's
feel
disgusting.
like I think the ship in Scorpion, the Borg ship that has been
I was about to just say.
has been attacked by 8472, and then
It had the Borg
Yeah.
corpse totem
Yes,
in the middle
that
of the room.
thing. That
and
thing's
like,
scary.
and like the Borg that was like defective and
Oh,
walking into the wall,
jerking around,
and then
yeah.
there was also just a monster that ate part of Harry Kim.
yeah.
Poor Harry.
Oh, yeah, the Harry Kim stuff on its own would qualify for
Yeah,
horror.
that's I think pretty high.
That's
on
the other
list.
thing, though, is the TNG Borg stuff also kind of loses some of its edge because the costumes are just black bodysuits with plastic armor. Like, they definitely got creepier in First Contact because of the makeup, which then carried over into Voyager.
Some of the early Borgs we see in I think Q-Who and that era were the ones where the faces were treated differently.
True.
Though there were a couple. There was the ones where like there's something in their mouth.
Yeah, the mouth
They
was
had a
covered.
mouth thing.
Both
Some of them
eyes
had
were
no
mechanical.
eyes. It's
Yeah.
like, sure, the bodysuit may have
We're
looked
done-
kind of
was dumb.
campy, but they did weirder shit with the face.
I wish they'd kept that when the makeup got better.
Mm.
Keep the we really don't need these parts. You don't eat, so we're gonna replace your mouth with a sensor device.
Yeah, you don't even need eyes because we can give you better eyes with
Yeah.
these fucking laser
You're right. I
things.
forgot about that. That is true. But yeah, again, just the rest of the costume. You're just like, what the fuck is this?
Speed suit.
How about
Still suit. Sorry, that's great.
No, but see, Speed Suit, that's Venture Brothers, so you made a reference without meaning
No,
to.
apparently.
And it was
Go ahead,
still
Jake.
funny.
Impact Noir?
Yeah, good
Yeah.
one.
Which one's that?
That's the one where they
Oh,
visit the
oh.
other DS9.
And then Dakata's just standing in front of the lasers like, what?
Nope.
It's not gonna...
No,
oh, wait,
no.
which one am I thinking
That's
of then?
that's Civil Defense.
Oh, that's a good one, but it's not
That's
a
very funny.
And no, Impact Noir is one they have
Garrick
to go...
goes crazy.
Garrick is a serial
and they're
killer.
hunted by.
Andy Robinson just goes to
They're
town.
hunted by like
Oh,
some.
he's hunting other Cardassians too,
Well,
right?
the other Cardassians are a security system that was set up to kill intruders. So,
And Garrick gets infected.
and
Yeah.
Garrick gets
Yeah.
infected by the rage virus.
And who does he stand off against? Like Nog or
O'Brien.
something? Oh, is that right? Damn, I'm rewatching the show and I don't remember that.
You would have watched that one recently, too, because that's a later season
I might have
episode.
slept through it. I feel like I'm unfortunate, which wouldn't surprise any of you, but I feel like there's been some napping at times.
Yeah, rewatch that one. That one is
That's
It's a good-
Empire
yeah.
Noir.
because it also like there's a moment in that episode that is also it's another really scary like visual scene where I think it's Miles and Nog has been kidnapped by insane Garrick.
Right,
And
that's
all-
what it is.
And all the other crewmen who've been killed are strung up
Yep.
along the promenade, and it's really fucking terrifying. Good visual, like real creepy.
I have a surprising list building up actually over
A
here.
surprising list. Holy shit.
Well, so I've got the episode where Data is having nightmares about people hurting each other. The
Is it
mid-peptide
Phantasms?
mid-peptide frosting.
Phantasms, yeah. It may
Like-
be a dumb episode, but there's some creepy shit in there.
Yeah, the weird imagery. Even later when they realize, oh, Data's seeing the bugs but doesn't understand what he's seeing, so he's dreaming it. Like when Beverly just like sweeps a thing over her arm and she's like, I have one, and like it's
there
like
it is. Oh, there's one
scanning
on
other
Riker's
people.
head.
Right.
I love the scene in that episode where Data's just in the turbo lift with Troy, takes one look at her, has a weapon of some kind,
Yeah.
and just stabs her in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Is it Troy or is it Bev? One of them. He
think it was
stabs
Troy.
someone in the fucking shoulder, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Data, no! Don't do it!
Another one was the mind control game that Riker brings onto the ship because he
the
doesn't
game.
understand
Oh, the game.
operational
Oh,
security.
that's a good point.
And everybody's just cumming themselves to death, basically.
Yeah, like it's like just because everyone it's
They're pod people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
Right,
becoming
yeah,
pod
exactly.
people.
Body snatcher shit.
That's a good example.
Play the game.
I've not
They
seen
got
that
left
episode listed in other horror episode lists when I was trying
I
to
think it's
go
a
through.
pretty good
Yeah.
horror episode. Like it's pretty convincing. I
Well,
think.
plus, and it's got that trope of like it's just the two kids against all the adults
Right.
because, like, they, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely got a
yeah.
common tropey thing going on. I like
my
that. That's a good one.
my last TNG is the final episode with Moriarty. Kind of alluded
Ship in
to
a
this
bottle.
earlier. Ship in a bottle, where it's just the end. Is one of the things that like the reason I'm bringing up is because it legit scared the shit out of me as a kid. Like looking at the end of this episode where Barclay has put Moriarty and Regina
Yeah, Compass Regina.
into a simulation cube, trapped forever, and like it's
Trapped
supposed
for as
to,
long as they upkeep it.
right? Yeah, and it's like oh, there's enough space in here for a lifetime of experiences. Like, but still, like, there's this existential, horrific idea where like these two people are trapped in a prison forever.
That they don't even know about yet.
That they are unaware of, and like that idea freaked me out so much as a kid that it really overshadowed anything else that was going on in that
Don't
episode.
watch any Black Mirror.
No, they're all
We just
seriously.
watched Black Mirror with
Yeah.
Rossi last
I know.
week.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's like just it was just so absolutely upsetting. Like this idea of just like eternally being captured, and like
But they don't know it. Like,
Yeah.
how is
They'll
that
probably
more or
figure
less
it-
terrifying?
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like
they'll almost definitely figure it out.
Yeah,
it's-
that's-
they got enough time to do it. It's not like they're going to simulate all of reality. They're going to go too far and hit something that's doesn't work.
Yeah, like in the Truman Show. You get to the wall
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, here's the end. Shit.
Yeah.
And then they go crazy, and then the real horror starts.
An example that I've seen on a whole bunch of lists that I don't know if I would find scary, but I wanted to ask you guys about, is Conspiracy. And I think it's because when the bug enters Remic's
Remick.
mouth,
Yeah.
and then there's a monster inside Remick. That's
Oh, I
scary.
was thinking about that one. The one that has the little
Yeah.
tiny thing in its chest or whatever.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
head
It's a
blows
big
up
Yeah,
or
thing.
his
whatever.
head blows up, and then there's a
It's-
monster in his
I mean,
chest.
there's that, but then I think also just the concept of everyone, like, that's another pod people.
Yeah.
type
It is. That's
Yeah.
true.
No, I think that is way more than the end of Ship in a Bottle, which I still stand by as being one of the scariest things. But
It's gory, but it's also kind of goofy, which I feel
Yeah.
like takes away from the scary.
You seen
I
any
know, I-
80s slasher films? Those are goofy as shit sometimes.
I was gonna say, like, that being broadcast on TV in 80
Whatever.
whatever it was is probably pretty groundbreaking at the time to see that type of gore on a syndicated TV series for
yeah,
children.
but yeah, no, I think the aliens controlling and there being like this conspiracy, like that I think is the scary part.
Would have been scared if they'd ever actually followed up on it and got more story.
It reminds me of the
Teehee.
Animorphs. Because in the Animorphs, there's like this evil bug thing called a yerk that like climbs into your ear and wraps itself around your brain and like
So like
controls
bugs?
your shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Khan's bugs are pretty scary.
That's fucking horrifying. Why haven't we
Yeah.
talked about that?
That's a good question. That's extremely.
Well, I mean, like, if we're but the thing is, like, that's not really a horror. It's a horror concept, but it's not really a horror episode because I feel like
it's a movie. It's a
Well,
section
yes.
of a movie.
yes. I don't know. I feel like if
I like
we're
that you
gonna,
actually
it's not-
just
it's not
wrote
what the movie's
Khan's
about.
bugs.
if we're gonna list everything in Star Trek that is spooky or gross, we're gonna be here a while.
All right. Well, we've already been here a while, so let's keep this moving.
So keeping along with like the existential terror stuff.
Good.
So there is the clowns episode.
Yay!
The ending of that in particular.
The thaw.
The thaw, yeah. When Janeway, when a hologram of Janeway is basically telling a computer program, "Hey, you're gonna die. Pretty awful, isn't it? Bye."
Yeah, like that ending is way better than that episode deserved.
Yeah.
The rest of it's not scary.
What's it like? He just says something like, "I'm scared."
Yeah,
And Janeway doesn't Janeway say good? Like-
Because
I don't
possibly.
think
he's supposed to be the incarnate fear incarnate.
Right.
Yeah.
What is
And-
it? That sounds like the plot to It.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, actually.
some of the other-
How scary you find that episode on the whole probably has to do with your opinion on clowns.
True.
I don't know. We also torture Harry a lot, and
Yeah,
that's
it's a lot of
that's
bad
Do that
stuff.
every week.
I was
That's
gonna say,
true.
if we brought up every episode where Harry was tortured to death, we'd be
here
here
Or
for a long
O'Brien.
time. Oh,
Um,
poor Miles.
The other existential horror episode is Course Oblivion.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
so good.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
brutal.
it's
Fucking
just-
episode.
No matter
What was that?
every that's,
The one I
Silver
hate and
Bloods.
love.
The Silverbloods die.
Oh,
and that's it. Just and in the end, they can't even be remembered.
There's nothing.
You know
Yeah.
the fact that they're just completely gone.
We couldn't get the beacon out, so we're just gonna die.
Yeah.
Sad face.
I liked this episode, but only the part where Neelix talks about the Talaxian ship. That's the
best
only
part of
horror.
this one,
That's the only
yeah.
horror in the story.
It's
No, we
not.
never even see it. We only hear his story.
We
Yeah.
have said it's not a scary horror episode per se, but
It's at least trying.
Threshold is definitely a B-50s horror.
That
That's
yeah
true.
that's yep.
Complete with the lizard monster kidnapping a woman to make his
Yeah.
bride.
Except succeeding.
Yes.
Upsettingly enough. So this is very similar to the Data Bugs episode, but there's that episode where in Voyager, when aliens are medically testing
the-
the entire crew.
Oh, that one.
ones
Isn't
with
that
the-
like
the
the first
cloaked
episode
alien.
or something? Oh, no, you're talking about
Oh.
the ones where they're like on the ship.
They're-
Yeah, and they're like
They're
out
like
of phase.
cloaked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
Janeway's like having headaches because they've got like
They
A
got
literal
they-
vice.
strapped to her head.
I was thinking of how the caretaker like
Yeah.
takes people
Yeah, that's
away.
true. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
body horror too.
Yeah.
Though.
It's literally alien abduction.
I don't remember the name of that one. Damn it. And I can't find it quickly.
So let's find it now.
So damn it.
Ba-bum, bum, bum, bum,
What about the other alien that ended up on the Voyager ship in Macrocosm?
Oh,
The bugs?
No, fuck that episode.
The giant virus.
I mean, the shots where they've got bugs flying out of the necks of the crew, like there's some real awful shit. in
That really
episode.
wanted to be alien and really wasn't.
Yeah.
So yes, another failure.
Sometimes just don't let the doctor heal you. Just let it go. You host virus bugs. Just let it just drift off. Go to stove core.
It's not an honorable
time.
death.
Yeah, but then you have to go on that stupid boat.
The barge. God, that episode. guess that could maybe be. Yeah, not really
That episode
horror.
sucks.
It is. That episode is a horror. It is not a horror episode.
Other scary things. Oh, we talked a while ago in DS9, the adversary is basically the thing. Because anyone could be a changeling at any given time. Who, like, you cannot trust your friends. They will fucking kill you.
Bastards.
Was The Wire episode with Garrick and... Was it The Wire, the name of it?
The Wire's the one where he's getting headaches and...
Yeah.
He has
Because
to
he was
go...
addicted to...
Yeah, he's got, like, the thing that turns off pain.
Yeah.
And, like... But it's breaking down, so it's killing him.
Nah, that's
Yeah.
That's just drama.
Yeah. A damn good episode, but...
Yeah.
It is a really good episode.
We meet Tane.
We do.
Oh, that's right. I just wanted to talk about The Wire some more.
No, it's fair.
Let's talk about our happiest episodes. Have you considered The Wire, maybe? Oh, teleporter duplicates? What about The Wire? Maybe we could discuss that first.
What about the one where Barkley is seeing the aliens in the transporter?
Oh,
beam?
Teleporter and psychosis.
Realm of Fear.
Realm of Fear.
Yeah. You know, we could probably have just looked at the episode titles and figured out which episodes were horror.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
like
this
to
is
tell
kind of
you.
more personal, though.
Right.
Because then you get to disclose what's creepy to you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Like, one of the things I found really creepy was the Voyager episode Coda, where Janeway dies. She's just dead.
That's right.
And she keeps dying in new ways because an alien is trying to harvest her soul, and she sees her dad who tries to make her go into the portal of madness.
Yeah.
But he's just the death alien.
But the scariest scene in that episode is one of the death hallucinations that Janeway has, in which she's in medbay. The doctor says, "You have the phage. We can't cure you, so I'll just put you down."
Oh, yeah.
And he goes to murder her. And that's horrifying.
What a bad episode. I do agree.
It's not a good
I
episode.
do agree it counts as horror. But
That is a
what
scary
bad
scene.
episode.
But yeah.
I do feel like there has been a lot of oh yeah, that episode though, oh boy. So yeah, they really don't succeed at horror often, I think.
No, they're good at individual scenes. And I think
Yeah.
the individual scenes that they're good at are mostly because of the shot setup, the way that, the way that the scene looks and feels, and not necessarily because of the writing.
Yeah. There's definitely at least one Enterprise I'm thinking of that wants to be a horror episode.
Oh, is it Impulse?
Which one's that?
That's the one with the zombies.
That's the zombie,
Oh, God.
the zombie Vulcans.
Jake and I just rewatched
Oh,
Impulse.
I forgot about that one. That
And
one's
boy,
probably
it's
bad.
stupid.
What is it?
There's
Enterprise?
one.
Yeah, it's an Enterprise
There's
episode.
one where a bunch of people wind up in this weird alien jizz web.
Oh,
and
the
it's
jizz web.
Pretty bad too, from what I recall.
Anything involving a jizz web sounds
Well, it's not
bad.
literally.
The episode with the dream aliens. That people's nightmares were manifesting. Well, I guess they weren't always nightmares.
Which show? This happens
Sorry,
a lot.
Voyager, you're right. Yeah,
Feels like a
Voyager.
couple
It's the
different-
dream. It's the aliens that are all they literally sleep.
Oh yeah, waking moments. I think.
Yeah.
How about one Voyager?
Oh,
One.
that's a good
Where
one.
Is that the one with
everyone's
the-
in stasis?
Oh,
and,
no, that's not what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
7
named a
of 9.
character one later, but which was a mistake.
Yeah, 7 of 9 is hallucinating a bunch of shit,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
just
it.
her in the dock.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because that's a psychological horror. That's all
Yeah.
mental stuff. Granted, and then there's a creepy guy wandering around the ship.
Yeah,
that
so
she
there's
runs.
a serial killer on board who turns out to not really be there. Oh, what do we think about Ira Graves' Space Whale Adventure?
What?
Oh,
The space whale that tries to eat the ship.
And
Oh!
everybody ends up in dreams of some
Everyone
kind.
ends up
Yeah.
stuck in happy dreams, but they're actually then being eaten by a
Yeah.
space whale.
I guess
Yeah.
that could qualify, maybe.
Chris is horrified. He
It's-
does not like whales.
I don't think it's meant to be scary
It was
though.
Moby. It's
No,
Moby,
I mean-
it's Moby Dick in space with dreams.
Yeah, it's.
What about the one with 7 of 9's parents?
They're
Just full stop.
horrible
Yeah, they're
parents.
just the worst.
Well, but doesn't she then she runs into her dad at the end of the episode? Is that not that
There's
episode?
a different episode. There's the one episode where she kind of there's the episode where the Borg Queen taunts her by showing her dad is a drone, and then she blows him up.
Rightly so.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
I think it might be what you're thinking of, because I think it's the only time her parents are shown, or at least
Well, we also
the dad as a Borg.
Yeah, we don't see. That's the only time we see him as a Borg. There's the flashback episode,
The Raven,
where we learn about how they became Borg.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of is it Dark Frontier?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's Dark Frontier with the Borg Queen.
Where Ogden plays the father.
Yeah, basically anytime there are Borg around, there's creepy factor.
Yeah, I was actually just about to. I don't think this counts, but there's the episode where Seven of Nine starts seeing the memories of everyone she assimilated.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah,
And,
that one sucks.
But I'm mostly thinking about like the scene where like Tuvok goes in there and he's just surrounded and overwhelmed by like people on a Borg cube. But I don't recall. I don't recall if the rest of the episode was creepy.
Well, the problem
scary.
is that scene also just goes on way too long.
Right.
Yeah.
Like at first, it's like, yeah, okay. Then he's like, okay, are we still doing this? We are. Okay.
In the same way that Borg episodes are always creepy, I think Vidian episodes are always creepy.
Yeah.
Just because the implications are fucking horrible.
Actually, their first one where it's like, we just stole your lungs.
He did.
Oh,
That's
God.
fucking horrifying.
No, the episode where B'Elanna gets split and the Vidian steals the face of one of the
yes.
ensigns.
We thought you'd like us better if we wore your friend's face.
What a weirdo!
Yeah, like that. I feel like that character. I don't know if like it all counts as horror because it's supposed to be more of a character examination of B'Elanna. But like that guy, like just takes so much of that episode and just is horror. Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, the Vidians are just fucking monsters. Except for the doctor's girlfriend.
Yeah, she's great.
she was
she's
good.
okay. There's probably a lot of nice Vidians.
Probably. We just only ever met the one.
Yeah, would have been interesting to see more like her.
I have one more on my list that isn't like new Trek, which may make the blog. We'll see, TBD. But it's a TNG episode. It's Frame of Mind, which is one of our favorite Riker episodes, where he's in the madhouse.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because that's one where it's like, what is reality?
Yeah.
It's one of those like mental horror.
I was
things.
confusing that one with Future Imperfect.
Yeah, no, that one. Yeah, that one's not horror. But Frame of Mind is pretty creepy. And,
And in the same realm, the one where O'Brien is not really in prison.
Interesting.
It's a good existential horror.
Oh yeah.
Especially like when he's being
Hard time, yeah.
hunted by like he keeps seeing his dead friend.
Yeah.
Hallucinating
Who
him.
he killed.
I think enough of that horrible experience carries over into the rest of the episode. It might count as horror.
Yeah, I could see that. I see you could definitely make an argument for it.
Oh, well, I'm creeped out,
What
guys.
about when we're in it's a terrible episode.
Oh, good. That's the best kind.
When we have to go hunting around in Sloane's mind.
Oh,
I just watched that.
That one's awful.
Oh, what is that? Extreme Measures?
Yeah.
God,
No,
I
that one
hate
is
that
that's
episode.
absolutely a meet cute between O'Brien and Bashir.
Are they going? Do you think they're going for horror with any of that? Like, what the fuck is that?
I think they're going. It's like thriller, probably more than horror.
Yeah,
I don't think the writers had any idea what they were going for. Because like the first scene in the brain is like he's like having the party and it's just like, hey guys, how's it going?
The O'Brien replicant episode retroactively becomes kind of existential horror, but is a thriller
Yeah.
until the
I agree with
reveal.
that, yeah.
So it's
That one's a little tricky.
yeah, good episode.
Yeah.
And again,
Because it is more like
horror
conspiracy
in
theory.
retrospect when you find out what's going on.
Yeah.
The episode where they're trying to build the Millennium Gate.
No! God damn it, Jay.
I was fucking
11:59?
horrified after seeing that episode.
I was horrified that we'd see any more of Henry Janeway.
We all know the ultimate Star Trek horror episode is the Magics of Megas 2 because it literally has the devil in it.
What about Devils Do? We have Ardra.
Bem is
just horrifying.
Fuck that guy.
That is body horror, right? Like he
Suppose
comes
so.
apart in pieces.
And he thinks it's just dandy.
Right. Well, I'm scared out of my wits, so I'm going to get us out of here. So yeah, you can probably see what the hell other scary moments we found. I put up some really spooky screenshots on our Tumblr of these episodes. You can check them out.
Captain David S. Pumpkins.
Links below, or just go to sshbpodcast.com, see the tumbles, do the thing. Next week, holy crap, guys, we are wrapping season 6 next week.
What?
With a two-parter that leads into season 7. It'll be Unimatrix 0, parts 1 and 2. Definitely come back next week for that. It'll be top-bottom 3 time. It'll be a good time for everybody. That's that. What else do? We do Facebook. We do Twitter. That's been it. I'm gonna go hide under the bed now. This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
Spooky Jake.
I got nothing. This is Chris.
I'm the ghost of James.
Oh,
I
scary.
died! I have been dead the whole time!
Tell Bev!
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. If you're into it, then okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't tell her.
That's nice.
She's hot.
Yeah.